Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. So before the symposium unfolds in earnest with our first keynote speaker, Kitty and I will tell you a little bit more about the reason behind the whole event. So that is the exhibition, A Silk Road Oasis, Life in Ancient Dunhuang, which opened on the 27th of September last year and will close in just 2 days after what has been a very successful run for a show of its scale. First, I would like to extend my heartfelt thanks to the Klein Family Foundation and the Dunhuang Foundation for their generous support, without which this exhibition would not have been possible. Second, I want to give a big shout out to the many colleagues across the library whose contributions were essential to bringing the exhibition's initial vision to life. And that includes colleagues in the exhibitions team, across the collections department, and the Conservation Center, as well as colleagues in marketing, publishing, press, and learning. And we're immensely grateful to all of them. And the exhibition is really a testament to their passion and expertise. And finally, I wanted to acknowledge the invaluable guidance and advice that we received from our wonderful advisory board, some of them in the audience, the British Library Network chairs, and the Foguangshan Temple. So I will begin with a brief overview of the exhibition, starting with this lovely animation, I think if you click, of one of our illustrated scrolls that was created by Maria Morris in the marketing team, and that's one of the scrolls currently on display. And I think this piece speaks for itself, really, because it perfectly captures the essence of the exhibition. And as indicated perhaps better by the second half of the exhibition title, the exhibition takes a closer look at the ancient town of Dunhuang and immerses visitors into the stories and experiences of the people who lived, traveled through, worked, and worshipped there more than 1,000 years ago. So Dunhuang, which is in present-day northwest China, was one of the important junctions on the overland trade routes, now commonly referred to as the Silk Roads. And it's the strategic location of Dunhuang Oasis made it a vital resting point for travelers, either whether they were coming from Central Asia and entering the Chinese Central Plains, or whether they were coming from Central China and embarking on the journey to the west. So Dunhuang was a key commercial and diplomatic hub, and with the spread of Buddhism, it also became a major Buddhist node. It is perhaps very well known for the Mogao Caves, which are located 25 kilometers southwest of the town. And as such, Dunhuang acted as a conduit for ideas, religious beliefs, and knowledge. So our exhibition brings together 53 manuscripts, printed documents, and pictorial works and other items from Dunhuang, many of which come from the Library Cave, or Cave 17, at the nearby Mogao Cave complex. The exhibition draws on the British Library's extensive collection of Dunhuang items, and that includes items such as the copy of the Diamond Sutra dated to 868, which is the oldest complete dated book, printed dated book, and the Dunhuang Star Chart, which is the oldest complete map of the night skies known for any civilization. But beyond these iconic items, we decided to highlight lesser known yet equally significant objects of everyday life, personal letters, contracts, wills, and more, all serving as poignant witnesses to the lives of Dunhuang's people. So the exhibits essentially range from the 1st century of the Common Era to the late 10th century. And we're very excited to say that half of these are on display for the first time. And this was possible because several of them were specially conserved by our colleagues in the Conservation Department. We have 4 loans, and really they are truly highlights of the exhibitions. So we also would like to thank our lenders, so the British Museum, to whom we borrowed 3 3D objects, so an earthenware of a Central Asian merchant, a wonderful Buddha statuette, and a hemp shoe. And also Pi Artworks Gallery, who enabled us to have the very moving resin sculpture by contemporary artist Xie Xiaozi. So now, I will just talk you through the narrative and the key messages of the exhibitions. So first of all, we wanted to show visitors that Dunhuang was a lively, bustling place. It was home to a diverse mix of people, languages, and cultures. It was truly a melting pot of ideas, where different traditions coexisted and thrived. And here you can see 3 objects that are also currently on display, each representing a different religion. So we've got Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, and Manichaeism. And you will also notice that all 3 objects are written in 3 distinct languages. So we have Tibetan, Sogdian, and Old Turkic. So it was important to us that visitors would leave the exhibition feeling that Dunhuang's cosmopolitan society was maybe perhaps not so different to ours. Another key aspect of the narrative is its human-centered approach, and we felt that the library, with its wealth of primary resources, would be very well placed to do that. So the exhibition's narrative is designed to engage visitors, fostering a sense of connection, while emphasizing the contemporary relevance of these historical materials. And it maintained a deliberately simple approach while integrating insights from the latest scholarly research. So you'll see that in that image, the idea is to follow a cast of 8 characters, many of which are still familiar to us in today's world. So the merchant, the diplomat, and the fortune teller in green or teal cast light on civic life, the printer, the scribe, and the merchant on creative life, and the Buddhist nun and the lay Buddhist on religious life in Dunhuang. And finally, it was essential for us to acknowledge the complex history of these collections and provide visitors with key insights into their origins. So Mogao Cave 17, commonly known as the Library Cave, is a small Buddhist cave that was found or discovered accidentally in 1900 at the Mogao Caves complex. And it was originally built as a memorial shrine to the monk Wu Hongbian, and then sealed off at the beginning of the 11th century for reasons that are still debated. So its remarkable contents that included tens of thousands of manuscripts, paintings, and artifacts have profoundly shaped our understanding of China and Central Asia. And in the exhibition, we wanted to cover quite a lot, actually, when you see how small the space is, but we wanted to tell visitors about the nature of the cave and its contents, the discovery of the cave and subsequent dispersal of its contents, but also how the items on display came to be part of the British Library's collection, how this connects to the work of the International Dunhuang Programme that began in the 1990s. So we also worked very closely with our interpretation managers who sit in the exhibitions team to develop several interpretive threads. And then you will see through Kitty's presentation that they then came to life in many different ways. So first of all, the journeys of people, objects, and ideas. And these we wanted to be illustrated through several static and animated maps that reveal the deep interconnectedness in Dunhuang, of life in Dunhuang. We also have individual voices, and by that we meant that at key moment during the visitor journey, we wanted those ancient voices contained in the manuscripts to come to life, creating a direct sense of connection across time, so between past and present. And finally, we also wanted to play on contemporary activation. We wanted a modern response that would be juxtaposed against the exhibition's content to highlight how the cultural and creative practices that define Dunhuang still endure today.
I'm going to talk about how our visions and narratives were transposed into the gallery 3D design space. Before I begin, I wanted to highlight that this exhibition relied on 3 very key collaborations with Chinese institutions. So firstly, is the Dunhuang Academy, who provides us contextual images that have been integrated in our AV map projection, used for slideshow, and for design elements in the gallery. China Database for Traditional Music, with whom we worked on the soundscape together. Sound Art Museum, who helped us with the recording in various languages. We aim to reflect the multicultural life of Dunhuang in the gallery design, while offering an immersive experience that engages the audience's different senses through visual, tactile, and auditory elements. Our 3D designers utilized the length of the gallery to recreate the busy street of Dunhuang. On the peripheral wall, when you walk inside the gallery, there are layers of white and red fabrics that evoke the moving sand dunes, which is the defining landscape features of Dunhuang and the Silk Road. In the center of the gallery, each of our 8 characters is represented by a vertical banner, Each banner contains 3 boxes symbolizing the head, the body, and the legs. The head displays the section title. If visitors look closely at the head, they will notice different scripts above the section title, showcasing the linguistic diversity of Dunhuang. Here on the screen from the left, we have Sogdian script for the merchants. Next to it is the Cotonese script for the diplomat. And you can also see Tibetan for the scribe, Sanskrit for the lay Buddhist, and also Chinese in different fonts for the remaining banners. The body hosts the panel text. And these shapes are deliberately misaligned, and all the table showcases in the gallery are also angled so that to create a sense of life and movement. Our 2D designers has further dressed these characters with patterns derived from murals, reflecting the color and aesthetics of Dunhuang costumes and textiles. The contextual images provided by the Dunhuang Academy serve as one of our key references for this. This is an example of how the patterns were extracted from the mural image and how we select the scripts above the title. So we worked with the scholars Nicholas Sims Williams to identify the words merchant in Sogdian manuscripts so that the designer could incorporate them in the head of the banner. And our designer extracted the painted animal patterns on murals on Cave 277 to rework a pattern to dress the character. The patterns featured on the banners are also used in the flipbooks. The flipbook is in fabric texture, and it contains an expanded captions and translation of a key extract in the document. For each showcase of the characters, we highlight one named individual stories, and the stories is in the flipbook. The design in the cave section differs from the main busy street. Historical photos were used as main design references. So on the screen, you can see the scroll wall, and the design of the scroll wall was inspired by the historical photos with the scrolls and artifacts piling up to the ceiling of Cave 17. Banners on both sides of the contextual image of Cave 17, which is now on the top right of the screen, are based on historical photos taken by Stein when he visited Dunhuang in 1907. On this side of the wall, we provide more background of what is Mogao Cave, who is Monk Wu, what is Cave 17, and its variety of content. On the other side, we use a timeline to present the history of Cave 17's content from the point of discovery, dispersal, and to the effort to reunite them digitally through International Dunhuang Programme. Taking into the fact that Mogao Cave is 25 km away from Dunhuang, our designer created these separate spaces away from the busy street in the center, while keeping the connection because our visitors can see through the scroll wall. They can see the street. It is a quieter space for visitors to have a reflection of history. When visitors enter the gallery space, they can hear a beautiful soundscape. This soundscape brings to life the rich culture of Dunhuang with its long history of social, political, and artistic exchange. Created by Dr. Wei Xiaoshi, the soundscape blends archival tracks from British Library Sound Archive and the China Database for Traditional Music with a series of contemporary pieces. Some of these contemporary pieces are already in existence, but some are specifically created for this project. As part of our community engagement program, our community engagement officer, Helena, worked alongside Dr. Wei and his team to develop the soundscape through workshops and recording sections with musical artists from Chinese, Tibetan, and Uyghur communities in London, Beijing, and Xinjiang. They responded to source material, including artifacts and music from Silk Road, including Dunhuang. Another key element of our display is the sound points. To bring Asian languages to life, Mr. Colin Chinnery and the Sound Art Museum collaborated with scholars to record recordings of extracts from the manuscript on display. We also benefited from the support of our sound archive colleagues at the British Library. They helped us to record and edit the Chinese sound point at the British Library studio. Visitors can pick up a headset and hear the voices of people speaking in diverse languages, just as our Asian traveler and residents in Dunhuang would have when they visited or lived in Dunhuang.
Yes, so thank you all for listening to our presentation. For us, this exhibition is one of the ways that we're actively working to raise awareness of the collections in the UK, but also to make them more accessible to communities who feel deeply connected to them. So as the slides suggest, we invite you to continue your journey on the IDP website, and we're committed to ensuring that the exhibition's legacy in the months ahead. So we're already working on a 3D virtual tour of the exhibition, which will be made available on the website. We also keep adding more resources on the IDP blog. At the moment, we already have a few wonderful articles by colleagues and invited guest scholars, but we plan to build more content that will also include information from the work that was done by our colleagues in the learning teams, and that's been absolutely fascinating seeing how they've engaged, let's say, maybe perhaps a new generation of scholars or people who will be interested in finding out more about the Silk Roads and Dunhuang. And finally, thanks to the work of our IDP website content editor, here, we will also launch in the next few months a dedicated learning module on Dunhuang. So this symposium is especially meaningful to us because it allows us to amplify and explore aspects of the exhibition that we couldn't fully delve into within the gallery space. So we look forward to the discussions ahead. Thank you.